With its millions of acres of diverse wilderness, Mormon-centric capital city, and a homesteading spirit, Utah is often described as one of America's most beautiful states. This video will take you from the delicate arches in the south to the snow-capped Wasatch Mountains to the north, and even inside the towns and cities that help give the Beehive State its distinct lure for travelers and tourists alike. Stay tuned for one particular attraction that will actually teach you something about yourself and your family history, even if no one in your family has ever been to Utah. And if that doesn't pique your interest, you'll find one venture that will have you follow the yellow brick road. Let's dive into the 10 best things to see in beautiful Utah that are not national parks. Number 1 on the list is 9 Mile Canyon, which is in eastern Utah, about 10 miles southeast of Price. Despite its name, 9 Mile Canyon is a 40-mile-long natural art gallery. It features petroglyphs, rock art, and natural red cliffs. Much of the rock art was created by the pre-Columbian Fremont people, which was later discovered and enhanced by the indigenous Ute people. The petroglyphs alone are worth the trip off the beaten path, as they offer a unique window into the cultures of indigenous peoples across the Southwest. Every time you go, you are likely to find something new that you hadn't noticed before. It's worth camping in the area if you want a view of the stars that are painted across the sky, unencumbered by the light pollution of the bigger cities and towns. Number 2 is Little Egypt, which sits just 35 miles south of Goblin Valley. See our previous Utah video where Goblin Valley was featured. It's hard to ignore the name, Little Egypt. Its array of impressive and almost grotesque hoodoo formations harken back to the temples of ancient Egyptian civilizations. Hoodoos are steeples of rock formed over millions of years of erosion. In addition to its impressive rock formations, springtime in Little Egypt boasts an array of wildflowers native to southern Utah. To get there, you must drive on about a mile of unpaved road. But it is a well-kept road, and a special vehicle is not needed. Third on our list is Dinosaur National Monument. You heard that right, dinosaur. Dinosaur National Monument straddles the Utah and Colorado border and can be reached via Jensen, Utah. This is one of the few places in the United States where you can see dinosaur fossils embedded into the rock. Step back 65 million years into an alien world, long before humans roamed the earth. One of the most impressive sights is the dinosaur skull that is perfectly imprinted into a rock slab. Our fascination with dinosaurs dates back over 2,000 years, when ancient Chinese writings tried to imagine what these large dragon bones must have looked like in the flesh. At Dinosaur National Monument, you don't need to imagine too hard, as you can see the fossils on display as if left perfectly preserved just for us to be enamored with. In a much different landscape, Utah was home to vast species of dinosaurs, and at Dinosaur National Monument, you can go on your own imaginative archaeological dig through time. The fourth on this list is Park City. Park City is about 40 minutes east of Salt Lake City. Known mainly as a ski resort town, there is also an adorable little downtown with coffee shops, distilleries, alpine slides, and museums. All of this can be explored on foot or on the free trolley. If you ski or snowboard, then Park City is best visited in between late November and mid-April during ski season. Park City gets over 300 inches of snow each season. If winter sports aren't your thing, or if you find yourself there in the off-season, then take a ride on an alpine slide, also known as a mountain coaster. They are not just a thing that New Englanders enjoy. You are literally riding down the mountain on a concrete slide, on a sled with wheels. If plummeting down a mountain is not for you, then another highlight of Park City is the Park City Museum, which has both permanent and rotating exhibits centered on the town's history. Learn about the people who first settled the frontier, the mining industry, and see the underground jail that is said to be haunted by some of its worst criminals of the 19th century. Just north of Park City is the Utah Olympic Park, which played host to the 2002 Winter Olympics. Number 5 on this list is the Manaway Poppy Fields, about an hour and a half north of Salt Lake City. If you are unfamiliar with poppies, then think about the Wizard of Oz, when the Wicked Witch of the West puts Dorothy and her friends to sleep in the field, only to later be woken up by the snow provided by Glinda. The poppy fields are exactly what they sound like, minus the yellow brick road. There is a brief window, last week of May, first 2 weeks of June, when the poppies are in full bloom. For the botanist in you, the specific species that grows is the California red poppy, or for our nerdy viewers, Eschscholzia californica. As its name suggests, the flowers are a gorgeous red and perfect for photographing at sunset. We're halfway through the list, and, as promised, we took you down the yellow brick road. Still to come is a site that will take you into your own history. But first, number 6 on the list is Antelope Island. It would be sinful to do an entire video on Utah and not mention Antelope Island. It is the largest island within the Salt Lake and hosts a plethora of wildlife, including bison, sheep, a menagerie of avian species, and hold your breath and clutch your pearls. But there are also antelope on the island. The Great Salt Lake is the 10th saltiest body of water in the world, and while it's no Dead Sea, you can still float with ease. On Antelope Island, you can go on a vast array of hikes to see local wildlife, birdwatching, or just enjoying the surrounding scenery. You can also tour the ranch house at Fielding Gar Ranch, which is the oldest European-American built structure in Utah that still sits on its original foundation. In addition to hiking, the island can be explored on horseback, which will give you a pioneering spirit as you gallop through the island's 28,000 acres of natural beauty. For those who prefer water, you can also kayak and paddleboard around the island. Coming in at number 7 is a more unusual experience. Just west of Bonneville Salt Flats, in the Great Basin Desert in Wendover, Utah, the Sun Tunnels are a land art installation by artist Nancy Holt. The tunnels frame the sun from all angles, and the holes on top of the tunnels project the constellations of Draco, Perseus, Columba, and Capricorn right into the tunnels themselves. Holt is known for her land art, which enhances but does not disturb the natural beauty in which her art is placed. Because each tunnel is angled differently, each has a unique response to the sun's beams, which gives the viewers a blurred relationship between earth and sky. The Dia Art Foundation acquired this work, making the Sun Tunnels the first land art collection piece by a woman. Land art is a movement that came out of the 1960s, which shifted how people viewed their impact on the natural world. There is no better place to see the intersection of art and nature than at the Utah Sun Tunnels. Closing in on number 8 is Mirror Lake, located in the Uinta Mountains in the northeastern part of the state. Despite the geographical myth that the Uinta Mountains are the only east-west range in the U.S., they are, in fact, one of only 2 ranges in the U.S. that seem to defy the boundaries of the tectonic plates, which is what makes the rest of our mountain ranges run north to south. While many ranges may blur the boundaries of north and south, the Uinta Mountains blur no such cardinal anomalies. Mirror Lake looks like its name, reflecting the trees and snow-capped mountains back as you gaze over the surface. Many people come to the lake to fish, as it's home to 3 species of trout. There are almost 100 campsites and recreation day use areas. In the desert heat of summer, take a swim in the lake to cool off. Only non-motorized boats are allowed, so the water is clean and free of pollutants. Mirror Lake is accessible only in the summer via Mirror Lake Highway. However, it can be accessed in winter by snowmobile, should you be so bold. Number 9 on this list is Grafton Ghost Tour. Located just south of Zion National Park. The town was settled in 1859, but you may know it better for its set as the backdrop for the movie Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. The town was established as a cotton-growing operation, with residents also digging irrigation canals and planting orchards, some of which can still be seen today. The population peaked in 1910, but was all but abandoned by 1921. An effort to restore and preserve the town was made in 1997, and now you can visit the ghost town and learn about the period of time where the town was once thriving. Its abandoned buildings are a framework of the past, set against the backdrop of southern Utah's colorful cliffs. The schoolhouse, built in 1886, still stands today and offers an eerie reminder of a forgotten time. A ghost town wouldn't be complete without the potential for ghosts. The Grafton Ghost Town has a cemetery with around 84 graves, though some are missing headstones. The infant mortality rate was high, and the infant headstones remind us of the steadfast grit that helped build the western frontier. And now, as promised, the place to visit in Utah that will teach you something about yourself. Whether you came from Italian immigrants or a legacy of African Americans, the Family History Library in Salt Lake City is the genealogy capital of the world. It is a nerd mecca for connecting your past to the present. It is free and open to the public 6 days a week. It is the largest genealogical research facility in the world. Established by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, guests can not only use their extensive computer databases, but also scour through thousands of archives from around the world. Even if no one in your family has ever stepped foot in the state of Utah, spending a day or even a week at this library can open a window to your family's heritage. The library also has a room where you can record your family's stories to gift to your relatives and preserve the past. This is only 10 of Utah's endless, unique, and beautiful things to see. If you haven't yet made your way to the Beehive State, don't miss the opportunity to sleep in a poppy field like Dorothy, swim in one of the nation's most pristine lakes, or even spend days researching your own family's heritage. When visiting, be conscientious of the season to best maximize when things are open and accessible. Like and subscribe, and let us know in the comments below what other things you'd like to see on this list.